Yo, what's up? It's Jose again. Welcome to another talk. Today, I want to talk to you about surrender. Surrender always sounds like such a weak word. When we think of surrender, we think of when countries are at war and the other country can't keep up with the firepower, so they surrender. They're outnumbered, they feel like there's no use, so they surrender. And so it has a bad rap. In reality, surrender has more to do with being weak enough, being vulnerable enough that we become powerful. It takes a lot to say that you don't have it together and that you need help. To people that are trying to look strong all the time, this seems very weak. But in reality, people that are trying to be strong have a hard time adapting. So they're more likely to break. They're more likely to break down than somebody that is humble enough to say that they can't do it all on their own, that they don't have all the answers. It's better to be humble than to think you have it all together, to be arrogant. And I've fallen into this trap before where I felt like, well, I read, I meditate, I understand a lot of philosophy and spirituality and scripture, so therefore I'm strong. But the minute we start thinking that we are something, we're saying at the same time that we're not the opposite of that something. So we're putting ourselves in a box. And the more we put ourselves in a box, the less open-minded we are. The harder it's going to be for us to let the things that we believe we are go. But when you're fully surrendered, you're basically saying, I don't have it all together. I don't know what's going on. I know that I don't know. Like Socrates said. And the more you rest with the fact that you don't know, and that you know that you don't know, the more you realize that nobody knows anything. That everybody's just speaking from a place of something they heard or something that was taught to them. Very few people actually have the courage to say that in all reality, everything is a front. The only truth that there is that there is no singular truth. That truth cannot be described, cannot be explained. It is just here. Your experience is your truth for you. My experience is my truth for me. But the minute we start believing that my experience is more valid than yours, we're living a lie. Because everybody has to find their own truth. And it's not something that we can find as like we find our keys or we find a goal or we accomplish a goal. It's something that we must inherit, something that we must realize. How truth cannot be proven but realized. And this is all done by surrendering, by not trying to change the moment. We're so quick to want to change what's happening and compare and contrast our life with others and downplay what somebody's doing because we feel we're doing that very same thing better. But yet we don't truly know what that person's going through at that moment and why they're choosing to do the things they're doing. maybe from their perspective, they're being as truthful as they can be. A heroin addict doesn't make sense to somebody that's productive and stable, because it seems like that heroin addict is throwing their life away. But at the same time, the person that's judging the heroin addict might have never felt the pain and the stress and the depression that the heroin addict is feeling. So how would they know how to deal with those demons, with those weaknesses? But yet, we all are so quick to express how we would do things different, and how it's almost like we're saying we have all the answers when we say that we would do things different. I mean, ironically, I'm falling into this trap right now by sharing this message with you, because clearly I feel that I have something worth sharing. And subconsciously, it might sound like I know more than you. But I'm not trying to come on here to change people or to create people to be like me. I'm here simply to share what's going on in my life, in hopes that you can take something from it and apply it into yours. Because I don't know what problems you're going through. I do know that we all have problems, and that these problems get worse the more we try to fix them. And it's easy to want to keep fixing things. It's hard to just accept them. And by accepting, by surrendering, I don't mean just be a doormat and just let people walk all over you and let your problems walk all over you. It's something much deeper than that. What I'm trying to articulate is that to truly accept something is to relieve its power over you, to not let the stress take up all of your mental power, and you just simply can rest with the problem and trust that because you don't know what to do with the problem, that something, whether you want to call it God or your higher self, will guide you. And that is when you open up the doorway to intuition, to guidance, to intellect, divine intellect. And these are waters that very few people travel into, because they're so quick to think that they have it all together. So why would they look within and find that there's more answers, that there's something within them that is constantly trying to guide them once they clear the static of their mind, thinking that they have it all figured out. So I invite all of you to contemplate the idea that you're part of a bigger whole, that kind of like there's cells in your body that all work together to create you. What if we're each a cell of a greater body? And I don't like to put names into it, because there's people that think different things based on the names that are spoken. You say the word God, and some people fall to their knees and are grateful, while others get angry and ridicule you for even speaking such a word. So what's important is not the finger pointing to the moon, but the moon itself. And I'm hoping that there's a transmission that's being delivered to you through my words, because I know when I get to this point where my mind is clear and words just start coming out, I feel divinely guided to speak. And it's not something that I'm thinking about saying. It's just something that's coming out. And we all have this flow state that we can enter if we truly give ourselves up to the moment, to life. So experiment with this. Watch some YouTube videos on flow state. There's very interesting stuff. Even scientifically, science is catching up with what a lot of the religions and the scriptures were saying for thousands of years, but they're speaking about it in a more objective way. So if you're more of a science-oriented person, look up stuff like flow state and consciousness, and even quantum physics is really good. It kind of dabbles into a lot of the Buddhist teachings, and it all starts to kind of mix together, which is interesting to connect the dots between science, all the different religions in the world, all the different spiritual circles. There's definitely a common thread that if you do your research, you'll see how there's something definitely here that we're missing, and we have to dig deep, because what we're missing is ourselves. We're living as clones to a society of thinkers. We're not feelers anymore. We're afraid to feel. We're afraid to just go with the flow, because God forbid what happened last time happens again. So we're constantly falling back, retreating. If you're gonna retreat, surrender. Surrender your fears, surrender your ideas, surrender judgments, and just sit and stop thinking and see what happens. You'll be very surprised at what you will discover. It's beyond words and time. Much love to you guys. I'm stuck in traffic right now, so namaste. Peace.